continuing with this series where we're talking about how criminal defense attorneys earn money and all the things that they don't want you to know, let's talk about a common question I get asked, which is, are cheap lawyers bad? This is a very delicate question to ask because there are a number of different reasons, as we discussed in another video, as to why attorneys set their prices in certain ways. So let's just look at it from a general perspective first. Generally, you have to look at the quality of service you're getting. So when we're looking at products and quality and service, how do you make decisions in the rest of your life? Do you want a cheap car? Do you want a cheap house? Do you want something that's just going to get the job done at a minimum? Then sure, you can get the cheaper thing. For attorneys, it's not a lot of difference. So if you're saying, well, this attorney charges half the price of everyone else, you have to ask yourself why. Now, to be fair to attorneys who are setting their prices much lower, there could be a number of reasons. One very good reason someone might be cheaper is if they're a brand new attorney starting out and they're wanting to build up a book of business and get their name out there and have the ability to represent clients that they can't compete with established, experienced criminal defense attorneys. So I can tell you when I first started out, I had much lower prices than everyone because I didn't feel like I was experienced enough to set my prices in a way that would compete with people who had been practicing for years more than I had. So I set my prices very low and told people, look, I don't have a lot of experience, but I'm going to work my butt off for you, and I'm going to do everything I can to prove that I am a good criminal defense attorney. Now, if you have an attorney who's got a really low price compared to everybody else, but they've been in business for a very long time, that to me could be a red flag. Again, you have to look at what they're doing. The other thing to keep in mind is, if their prices are lower, how much time and attention are they going to give to your case as opposed to a case where they're charging more for the exact same thing? So in another video, I talk about how attorneys sometimes will set prices for people just based off how they feel about that person, which is something I do not believe should happen, but it does happen. You have to think about, well, if I'm getting charged way, way less, does that mean that they're going to pay less attention to my case? Does that mean I'm not getting the same quality as someone else who's paying something different? So when you're looking at these attorneys, there are different reasons that someone may be cheaper. Number one, they could be new. They could be trying to get some business and get a name for themselves and earning basically their way. Or they could be not paying as much attention to your case. Or they could have no idea what they're doing as far as setting prices. It could be that they just picked a number randomly and they don't know how much work it takes, and they could be losing money on the case. Now, for you, that may not be a bad thing. But if you're looking at it long term, if you have an attorney who's setting a price and they don't understand what it's costed them, let's say they charge you $2,000, but it actually cost them $5,000, from a perspective of business acumen, that company is not going to be in business very long. If they're putting all this work into cases and not making any money, they're going to go under, quite honestly. So when you're looking at prices, cheaper is not always better. However, cheap is not always bad. If you're saying, okay, I have a very easy case, run-of-the-mill. All I want is someone to make sure I'm standing there with me in court. I don't need a lot of information. I don't need to know what's going on. I just need a warm body. Sure, you can go with the cheapest attorney. But if you're wanting someone who's going to make sure they're guiding you through the process, to make sure you're getting quality representation, then you need to look at a lot more than just the price. You need to look at what their proven process is. You need to look at how they set their prices and why. And you need to dig into the quality of the service you're getting. So as with everything, price is just one factor in whether or not to hire an attorney. Cheaper doesn't always mean worse, but it doesn't always mean better. So really dig in and look at why they're cheaper compared to the other attorneys you're talking to and make an informed decision as to what's best for you in your case.